What's up, guys? I'm Dwayne, and this is Blackboard Gaming, where I teach you about all these great board games that are out there, waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't want a complication. Complication.
Hey, guys, and welcome to my board game wrap-up video for the month of April. I'm a little late this month, and for that, I apologize. But here I am, and I cannot wait to tell you about some of the games that I played last month rather. Now, in the month of April, I played a total of 12 games. And out of those 12 games, 7 of those games were new to me. So, without wasting any time, let's get right to it. Now, first, I want to talk about 2 games that I've talked about before. So I'm not going to spend that much time on them, but I've talked about them before in past wrap-up videos. Now, the first game is a game that my wife and I posted a review for, and that game is Skull Canyon Ski Fest. Now, we both really enjoyed Skull Canyon Ski Fest. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to that review video. And Skull Canyon Ski Fest, we are skiing down this mountain, and we're playing cards Ticket to Ride style, but instead of creating train routes like in Ticket to Ride, we are completing ski runs to earn points and fame tokens. The cool thing about this game is once you complete a run, your opponent can steal a run by playing more cards. So we really like this game. It is a great family weight game, and it just came out. Thank you, Thesaurus, for sending me a copy of this game, and that is Skull Canyon Ski Fest. Now, the next game is a game that I'm addicted to, and that's Ark Nova. Now, one of the guys in my board game group hadn't played it yet, and it was his choice, so he said, hey, let's play Ark Nova, and I taught the game, and that game is the truth. The hype is real for Ark Nova. Like in Ark Nova, you are building up your zoo. You're placing tiles on your personal player board, placing empty enclosures, and then you're buying animals to put in the enclosures. And later on in the game, you have the opportunity to release those animals out into the wild. That will earn you conservation points. And I love the way how the game is scored. Like you're getting hype or, for your zoo, but then you got conservation points. And whenever those two markers cross, that signifies the end of the game. And then your score is the difference between your hype. I know it's not called hype, and then your conservation points. And like I said, I am addicted to this game. That's Ark Nova. All right. So let's get into the rest of them. So the first game, the next game I want to talk about is a game that when I first started posting content about board games, this was one of the first games I talked about. And that game is Sagrada. Now, Sagrada, in my opinion, is one of my favorite, if not the best, dice draft and dice placement game. And it was one of the first games that I introduced to my wife to get her into playing board games. And Sagrada, you're drafting dice and placing them on your board that creates a stained glass window, and you have to pay attention to their adjacency restrictions. So you can't have the same number adjacent or the same color, And the reason I was playing this game is over on Ruel Gaviola's Discord. They was doing a solo board game challenge of Sagrada, and I gave it a shot. I played 5 solo games, and I lost 5 solo games. That game is a challenge, but I'm continue to try to win at least one time, and then I'd be happy, and that's Sagrada. Now, speaking of building like your zoo in Ark Nova, the first new game that I was introduced to this month is a game called 10 Penny Parks. Now, in 10 Penny Parks, you are building up an amusement park, and it's a worker placement game. You're sending your workers out to draft polyomino tiles to put into your park, or you're going to get money or stuff like that. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the first time I played this game, I wasn't feeling it right away because it was messing with my spatial sense. Now, what I mean by that is usually when you're drafting and placing tiles, you have to place them adjacent to tiles that have been previously placed. In this game, you can't have it adjacent. It can be diagonal, but it cannot be orthogonally adjacent, you know. And that was messing with me. I'm gonna be honest. But I kept thinking about this game. Like, first of all, the game is beautiful. It's art by Vincent Dutray. And aesthetically, it's beautiful. You know, they got this little cardboard circus tent that's right in the middle of the board. Now, some people have said that circus tent can get in the way, but I'm okay with it. Because, you know, probably I'll be playing this game mostly 2 players if I can get my wife on board. Because if it messes with my spatial sense, I know it's going to mess with her spatial sense. But we'll see what happens. But I ended up purchasing this game because, like I said, I kept thinking about it and I found out it had a solo mode. So I said, I want to play this game more and see if I can figure this out. So that's 10 Penny Parks. Now, the next game I was introduced to, I got my list. All right. I did a Kickstarter preview for a game that's on Kickstarter right now. And that game is called Cytress. Now, in Cytress, it's set in a cyberpunk world. And we are rebel leaders who are trying to escape the underbelly world of society and get up to the floating city of Stratos, which is represented by this kind of like Everdell-like component, you know, in the game. Now, I really enjoyed this game. You know, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below for that video. And what I really like this game like is worker placement, resource management. It has like a little area control, which I'm not a big area control person, but I did enjoy it in this game. And I like the fact that you're going out, sending your worker out to complete missions. And there's so many things to pay attention to when you're going out to complete those missions. Like what type of mission that you're completing. Who are you completing the mission against? Because you can get points by going to the bounty hunter. Where the mission is, because like I said, there's some area control. And how will it help build up your life path? So there's some tableau building. You're building your character up. And I really did enjoy this game, Cytress. I would definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below for the Kickstarter page. You know, I think it's still live. So that's Cytress. Now, speaking of not being a big fan of area control, the next, my Friday night game group introduced me to a game called Boru. Now, Boru has area control, or area majority, if you want to call it that, you know. But it also has one of my favorite mechanics, and that's trick taking. And I love how they blended those two together, you know. Now, but the thing is, in trick taking, when you win the trick, everybody else doesn't get anything else. You won the trick. But in this game, you can purposely lose the trick because you're trying to do something else. Because when you play your card, you win the trick, you get to place one of your disc out onto the map for the purpose of area control. But if there's on the bottom of the card, you will gain something if you don't win the trick. So you might prefer to do that, you know. So I really did like this game. And it's, you know, it's colorful. I love the pastel colors in this game. So I ended up picking that game up, you know. So that's Boru. Now, look at my list. All right. The next game I want to talk about is a game that I actually forgot I owned, you know. And I heard it mentioned on the list, and I was like, wait a minute, I own that game. And that game is called Thesaurus. Now, Draftosaurus, I've been trying to put together a list of games to like get it in where you can fit it in, and Draftosaurus definitely falls into that category because it's like 15 to 20 minutes, and you are drafting dinosaurs out of a bag, and you're placing them on your little player in your little park. So here's another park building game. Now you score points like certain pins have to have different dinosaurs in it, or another pen has to have the same dinosaur, or another pen has to have only one specific dinosaur, and then you score for the other dinosaurs of that type, or you have to have pairs of dinosaurs. And it's just really quick lunch break game, and I really did enjoy it. I introduced this to my wife. We played it a couple of times, and I know she's not a big dinosaur person. I like it. I really did like it. So that's Draftosaurus. So next game is a game that so the next two games I'm going to talk about is games that I had played two-handed, So I haven't played them with anybody yet, but I wanted to learn the game, get a feeling for the game so I can teach it. Now the first game is a game that I heard spoken a lot when people do mention games that can be played in the classroom. And of course my wife's a teacher, so I visited it, and that was Genotype, And in Genotype, we are breeding pea plants. And the pea plants are represented by these cards. And the cards, they're traits that you have to fulfill in order to play the cards or plant these plants, So the traits are on these dice. So at the there's a portion of the game where you roll the dice, and then you draft the dice and place them on your the cards. And then, once you fulfill all the traits, you get to score points for that card at the end of the game. Now, I really like this game. I like the look of it. It's a little brown, but I'm okay with that, because the dice are colorful. So that there's some contrast there. But the one thing I really did like about that game is when you upgrade, you can go higher on assistant. And those assistants come in with some superpowers. And that really ramps the game up. So I'm looking forward to trying this out with my wife, and I hope she likes it. And that is Genotype. The second game that I have played and learned two-handed is a game called Shinkansen 0K. I want to make sure I got that right. And in Shinkansen 0K, you are building a bullet train to prepare for the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. And you on your turn, you go buy a carriage card that goes in part of your train, and it gives you a special action. And those carriage cards have a name of a city, and when you have that on your bullet train, you want to try to hook that city up to make sure, because that's how you're going to score points. So you got to build a station, you do some construction, lay some track or whatever. Now, the thing is, everybody can see your card. So if you have, let's say one of the carriage cards is Kyoto. So everybody sees that you have Kyoto. So they know that you're doing the legwork there. So when a carriage card shows up, because you're drafting these cards, carriage card shows up that has Kyoto on it, they might go grab it because you're doing the work over there. So I love that strategy that they used right there. And I mean, I bought this game because, I'm always attracted to games that are set, Asian themed or set in Japan or something like that, But then I found out that this game was made by the same designers that did Red Cathedral, which is a game that I talked about in the past wrap-up video that I really enjoyed. So that's Shinkansen 0K. Now, another game, like I said 12, but as I'm talking, I remember that me and my wife, my wife's a wordsmith, and I introduced her to this game. I hunted it down and got it word on the street. And in word on the street, the players are split into two teams, and the letters are on the street. you know, and there's category cards, and we draw those category cards like it's say like pizza topping, you know. Let's say we come up, we say pepperoni. So every time that a letter appears in that word, you move that letter close to your side of the street. And then if it goes off the board on your side of the street, you've captured that letter. And then the first team to capture 8 letters, you know, will win the game. And I like this game. Like, it's easy to come up with words, but now you gotta like, okay, how can I gotta come up with a word that pulls letters that are already on the other team's side of the street. You're trying to bring them back, you know. So I really did enjoy this game, you know, word on the streets. And she liked it too. So, let's see. Oh, here we go. The next game that I want to talk about is a game that I was introduced to on my Friday night board game group, and that is Dead Reckoning. Now, Dead Reckoning is a pirate-themed game. I love my pirates. It was designers John D. Clare. I love John D. Clare's games. I have Cupidos, I have Space Base, you know. I had Mystic Bell, but I lost it in the flood. So, but in Dead Reckoning, you know, basic pirate game. You're going around doing missions, claiming islands or whatever. The cool part about this game is you have a hand of crew cards. And it's card crafting, just like in Mystic Vale, where if you purchase this card, you can slide it into one of your crew members that makes that crew member more powerful. You know, and I really did enjoy this game. I like Pirates game. Now, I wanted to back it when it was on Kickstarter, but they had Shiver Me Timbers on at the same time. And, I mean, can't back everything. So I chose Shiver Me Timbers. And I'm okay with my choice because I love Shiver Me Timbers. But Dead Reckoning is really, really great. So, next game is a game that I played before because we played Dead Reckoning and then we had a little bit of time, so we grabbed the filler game. That's King Domino. Now, King Domino, of course, won the Spieljahr in 2017. And, you know, I bought this game because, you know, my goal is to try to introduce board games to family and friends. And my brother, he loves dominoes. So that's what made me grab King Domino. Now, it's a quick game. You are drafting tiles to place in your 5x5 kingdom, you know, and then you score points based on the terrain types multiplied by these little, I think they're castle symbols, if I can remember correctly, you know. Like I said, this is another get it in where you can fit it in game. And so I played it. I was like, man, I forgot how much I like this game. So I got to introduce this to my wife, you know, real quick. All right. So the next game. Let's see. I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Just bear with me, guys. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, man, I talked about all of them. All right. Well, the last game on this list is a game called Castell. Now, in Castell, we are Castellers, or, you know, we're leading our team of Castellers who are like human towers, you know. That's what a Castell is. And we are traveling through Catalonia to different regions of Catalonia, performing in festivals, you know, performing in local events, all the while training, recruiting new Castellers. You know, it's just fun practicing. Now, this game involves a lot of planning ahead, you know, and it was my choice, so I wanted to play Castell. And I was happy to play because, you know, some games that I get into my collection, I just play two-handed to learning and everything like that. So, you know, I finally got a chance to play this game with other people, and I loved it. Castell is probably in my top 20 games of all time. You know, it might crack my top 10. I don't know. But I do have a question to ask, and I don't know if this question merits a whole video about it. You know, maybe. I know us as board game connoisseurs always talk about you know, board games that are on our shelf of shame or shelf of opportunity. So, what do you call a game that, you know, that you bought, you opened, you played it two-handed? It's meant, and then, you know, sometimes have solo, but it's meant to be played with more people. So, but you played it two-handed to learn it, to understand the rules, so that when you get that chance to play with other people, you're able to teach this game. Now, is it still considered a shelf of opportunity? Is it more of a shelf of potential? I don't know. You know, let me know in the comments below. You know, I would love to hear what you think. So, I think I got everything. Let me double check. Yes, I did. All right, I had the game sitting here. Sorry. You know. But anyway, those are the games that I played in the month of April. Now, if I was to pick a favorite, you know, I would say Castell. Like I said, I was looking forward to playing Castell with some people, and I finally played it, and I love it. You know, Arc Nova's right up there. Brian Boru's up there, you know. Oh man, Dead Reckoning him. Now that was so good. Anyway, all right. If you like, leave in the comments below what are some of your favorite games that you played in the month of April, and what are some of your new to you games that you played in the month of April. And if you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'm Dwayne. This has been my board game wrap-up video for the month of April. This has been BlackBoardGaming. I will see you next time.